Hey there! In this video, we are going to talk about doing one thing a day that scares you. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, but you can call me Pajama Grandma. In case we haven't met yet, go and put hashtag pajama in the comments below so I know it's the first time you're being exposed to the Pajama Grandma. Today is day 262 of doing one thing a day that scares you, or doing one thing a day that scares me from the book, do one thing a day that scares you. Started out earlier this year to stretch my comfort zone and get out of the rut that I've been living in. And my daughter pointed out this little book to me on my bookshelf and said, hey, that might be a good book to look at this year. And I decided that in order to hold myself accountable to actually doing it this time, because I'll be honest, I've started this book probably 5 or 6 times before and only did it for a day or two and then stopped doing it. Probably because life got in the way or something hard came up and I didn't want to deal with it. So instead of stretching my comfort zone and jumping out and dealing with it immediately, I would procrastinate and not do it. So this little book has really, really helped me to, number one, face up to things and not procrastinate, and to stretch my comfort zone and do one thing. One little thing a day is all I need to do to get out of the box that I was living in. And so I share with you every day the daily scare share, I call it. And today's daily scare share is a sayings day, which is wonderful. My magnifying glass says, change is not made without inconvenience, even from worse to better. And this was said by Richard Hooker. Now, my first question is, do you agree with that? Because as I was reading it, I'm like, okay, well, who besides Richard Hooker says that change has to be inconvenient? Is change different? Yes. Is it something other than what we're used to? Yes. But does that have to be inconvenient? Do we have to fear change? Do we have to worry about change? Do we have to stress out about change? All kinds of books have been written about who moved my cheese, change masters. I've read hundreds of, or not hundreds of them, but I've read dozens of books on change. And every one of them presupposes that changes are bad and that they're bad for, especially teams. I'm thinking of my work settings. That change is bad and teams won't accept it and you have to find all these ways to make it palatable for people. But we make changes all the time that are really, really good for our lives. Are they different? Absolutely. But different doesn't have to be inconvenient. Different doesn't have to be seen as bad or hard or a struggle. One of my pet peeves is that people say in order to get what you want, you have to struggle. And I think that's absolutely ridiculous. Struggle is optional. Inconvenience is optional. I can choose to change. I can choose to move and have it not be inconvenient or a pain or negative. I can choose to get in a relationship and I hope it's not a pain or negative, or why am I in that relationship? I can choose to get married. I can choose to have a family. I can choose to get a new job. None of that has to be considered inconvenient. Is it different? Is it out of the ordinary? Yeah, but out of the ordinary doesn't automatically have to be bad or inconvenient. So I would love if you would weigh in today and let me know if you think change is automatically inconvenient, or if it's up to us and if we get to decide if it's inconvenient or not, or if we want to do it or not. I think that's why so many people resist change and resist doing things that are in their own best interest, because they think it's going to be hard. And actually, when you step into and do something, you find out it's not nearly as hard or inconvenient as you anticipated in your mind, because past beliefs and past programming and past things people have told you about, oh, change is so terrible, change is hard. And it's really not. It doesn't have to be. It's like any other thing we experience. We get to decide how we're going to feel about it. So I choose to be excited about change and curious about change and think about how can I make change fun. So that's it today. Do you agree or disagree with this? And then the challenge is today's change for the better. And so you just fill in a line of what you're going to change or what you did change for the better today. And I wrote down engagement strategy, because I need to get more strategic about my engagement, not just talking for the sake of talking on videos. And I put a new source of income and a new awesome home. So those are on my list of changes for the better today. And I'm excited about them. I don't know about you. Is it inconvenient? I don't think so. I'm not going to look at it as being hard or inconvenient, because then I will procrastinate and not do it, right? So I'm just going to do it and embrace change and have an awesome day. I hope you do the same. And I will, of course, see you tomorrow with day 263 of our daily scare share. Because every day we are stretching our comfort zone and moving toward the life that we want. Bye. Jam Grandma out.